All right. We're going to start standing. I think I've got a little music for us, just to start with. And we're going to focus on shoulders and upper back. And then we're also going to do some focus on the hips. So just standing with feet wide, we're going to give our body a sway. So we're just moving side to side, just swaying. If you want to close your eyes, let your head join into the movement. And we are not placing anything in any place. We are engaging the very root base of the body. And we're engaging the space between our hip bones. So the low belly. That place is moving us. Everything else is just attached. Now we're going to bend our knees and maybe let our heels lift up and give our body some sway. And literally just shake off the stresses, the tightness, the tension. And maybe the arms want to do some larger swings. And so we can do that. And if it felt better to just stand with the feet closer together and give a small sway, whatever feels good. And then we're going to let our hips stop moving and then just allow the arms to come into a stopping place. And then we're going to circle our arms, just opening out big and circling and taking a little inventory. Breathing in and out, letting the breath move through the body as the arm comes around. We'll switch out, go to the other side. And as we notice things, let's find the tight places. We may not have to search for them. They may be very obvious. We'll do a couple more. Breathing big. With our toes turned out to the corners and our knees facing the same way as our toes, we're going to breathe all the way up. And on the exhale, cross the arms in front of the body and just sweep down. So we're just moving slow. We're really just bringing the body into the mat. Hello, body. It's time for us to end whatever it is that we were doing and move into some self-care. Let's end in our 5-pointed star, big starfish pose. And this is our breath. On our exhale, we're just going to let everything fall over toward the right side. Let it all hang here. Let the head bounce. Maybe give the whole body some bounces. Now we're going to breathe and roll up. Inflate the body. Let the breath move the body up all the way back into that big starfish pose. We'll breathe big. On the exhale, we're going over to the left side. Collapse to the side. And just bounce here. Now what are we feeling? We want to notice the places that need some attention. Let's inhale, breathe up. Inflate the arms back into that same place. We'll come together and we're going to clasp our fingers together and press out to the front. Maybe soften the knees here and bring the belly back toward the spine. And we'll let our arms move side to side, just warming. And we'll bring our hands up from there. Elbows are soft, we're being gentle. Our gaze is up. Our belly is strong, and we're lifting the heart, opening the armpits, rotating the shoulders outward. And fold all of that back down. We'll bring our hands together at heart center. Anjali Mudra here. We'll come into our mountain pose. We're just going to give ourselves a little moment of intention. So breathing in and out, let's decide why we're here. Not like in the universe, but why are we meeting ourselves on the mat right now? Maybe it's to unwind. Maybe it's because we know that our body needs to be still for a few moments. And in order to do that, we need to get all the squiggles out. Maybe the parts of the body need to be moved, and we know that. And that's okay too. We'll give ourselves some little wiggles in our knees, maybe our hips and shoulders one more time. And let's set an intention of freedom, an intention of space. Creating space physically around us, also just within ourselves. Some space so that we can organize. So right here in these next few breaths, we're going to lift our toes up and plant them back down on the mat. Check for tension that we might be holding in our hips or shoulders, or in our jaw or our brow. And let's set aside some things that simply will not serve us during our practice today. And that doesn't mean that we're not going to remember them later or ignore them or be irresponsible. We're just setting them aside for now so that we can create the space we need to organize. Like taking the stack of papers off our desk so that we can go through them properly. Breathing in. On the exhale, letting go of all of those things that we can look at later. Another breath. And out. We're going to breathe all the way up, and on the exhale, we're going to open the arms slightly behind. Elbows are ever so slightly behind the center body, lining up with the back ribs. Shoulders are rotated to the back. Shoulder blades are squeezing toward one another. And we're lifting the heart, lifting the throat. Now we're going to take a breath and bring our shoulders a little more together. And on the exhale, drop and let them roll inward to the front. Everything's hanging heavy here. We'll breathe up. Lift the shoulders, elevate, and on the exhale, depress those shoulders in the back. And once more, the breath is up. The exhale is open, knees are soft so that we can control the belly. We're not letting the belly protrude forward. Breathe and open more, squeeze the shoulder blades and lift the heart. Exhale down. Breathing around the shoulders, forward, up, back, and down. And from here, we're going to take ourselves all the way over to the mat, just finding our forward fold here and letting the feet, knees, legs come down. We're actually going to sit on our hip, and we're going to move through our seaside. I'm going to grab our music, moving into our seaside flow. So we can imagine ourselves as a mermaid, maybe, and we are sitting at the water's edge. The water is an absolutely perfect temperature. We have our feet to the side.
Lie down on your back and make yourself as comfortable.
And my music is not what I thought it was going to be. We'll try this one. We're going to sweep our hands over, around, through the tide, just feeling the water. Noticing that the tide is very gentle. It's that nighttime sort of lapping tide, and the music is perfect. The temperature is perfect. The sound is as if we ordered it that way. From here, we're going to take our arm outward and then up. And just notice the up and down motion just a few times. We're just moving up and down with the arm. Now we're going to put these together. So if you are not quite as comfortable as you could be, and you want to be seated rather on a cushion, or maybe use a block to keep the whole body up tall, we don't want to sink into our shoulder. We want to stay lifted with the shoulders back. We're going to come across the body. We're going to breathe as we come up and stretch. On the exhale, we'll come back. We'll breathe across and out. And breathe up and down. We're going to slow that down, really slowly come across and slowly come back. We'll take it up and down. Breathing across, exhale, and up. We're going to leave it down, and this time we're going to hold on to our leg that's on the side, reaching the other arm up and over. Now we notice this side of the body, this right side of the body is compressing. Notice how that feels. And as we reach away, rather than allowing the arm to dive to the side, we're reaching this arm away. How does it feel on the side? Let's notice that. As if we were going to describe it to someone else, let's think those words in our mind. It feels stretchy. It feels open. It feels free. It feels spacious. It feels cooling. Now let's breathe and reach up and force that hand down as if we were moving through something really thick. We're coming over to the other side. Just swinging the legs over and around. And we'll reset. And we'll move this arm. We'll just move back and forth a few times here. And we'll take whatever time we need, do whatever comfort we want to be in the position that suits us best. We're going to take our arm up and down, reaching overhead and back down. We'll go one more time, and then we're going to start into our flow. We'll breathe across and out. Breathe up and out. And breathe. As we cross, we're thinking about sitting up really tall. We're thinking about letting our body move freely. And now we're going to start to think about moving a little slowly. Breathing slower, moving slower. And we're thinking only of the breath and the movement. We can see our body move. We can feel our body move. We can feel and hear our breath. And we're using those senses to come into our mindfulness, into our focus. We're going to come right together and come into our Sukhasana, crisscross, sitting however is most comfortable for our own body today. So maybe that's on the mat, a cushion, a block, a pillow. I'm going to bring over my lesson plan. I left my glasses over there. All right, perfect. We're right on track. So here we are in our crossed position, crossed legs. We're going to take our breath all the way up, and on the exhale, bring it down. Just moving through cactus pose. Arms moving out and away from the body, and then closer together at the top. And as they come down, let's notice what's happening in the underarm. Drop the hands and breathe it up. Exhale. Feel the muscles as we engage, as we really get into like a flexed muscle here. We'll drop and sweep up, big breath. On the exhale, we're going to stay in our cactus. Get very comfortable, get up on our sits bones. And then we're going to let our elbow and our arm bring the body to a twist. And breathe to the middle. And exhale, twist. And breathe. And exhale. Big breath in. And exhale. Breathing all the way in. Let's go ahead and drop down. We're going to let our hands walk to the front. We're going to walk ourselves all the way over to one side and reach out toward the place where our knee is pointing. So as our knee is pointing or reaching over there, we're reaching out. And we'll come back into our center. Walk ourselves over to the other corner. Reach out. Really lengthen through the neck and the spine here. And then we'll come back to the center. Let's go ahead and change the way we're sitting. So put the other leg in front. And I will try to find out why I'm so popular today. All right, dropped my microphone. So in this place, we're going to move back through the cactus pose. That other leg is now in front, and our breath is up and down. And as we move through on this side, let's just keep the arms in the cactus shape as we come right back up. So the movement is a bit more warming. It's a bit more intense. And for some of the things we're going to do in our shoulder stretches today, we're going to enjoy the warmth of this movement. Breathing up and exhale. Right, and bring that all the way down, hands in the back. Roll the shoulders and stretch the arms in the back, moving side to side. We're going to walk ourselves forward and back to the center. And now walking over to the diagonal, finding that place where our knee is looking, reaching out, noticing all the things we're stretching. We're going to bring that back in, and we'll walk to the other side. Our hands are supporting us and our hips are supporting us, but we're allowing a stretch to happen through the low back, maybe through the hip flexors, the outside of the hip, the glutes. Where do we feel it? Let's see if we can notice that. We'll bring it back to the center. We'll bring this side body into a stretch. Feel that cooling sensations. And then coming back in, we'll give some attention to this side body. It got left out earlier, really reaching far away. Separating the ribs, noticing what's happening here. All the way down the side. And then feeling the compression on the side that's smaller. We'll breathe that all the way up and exhale down. Let's take our feet right out in front. And we might want to use a block here, especially if we have a tendency, my tendency is for the legs to naturally draw away. So by having a block here, or even long ways, then we're going to be using the legs to press the block together, engaging the inner thigh and adding some strength into the inner thigh place. A lot of times when we're having sciatic pain, it's going to come from the sacrum and the SI joints being strained, misaligned, or in some way aggravated. If we can strengthen the inner thigh, then we can allow for a better alignment, and the hamstrings will not have to be working as hard all the time or fatigued, which can cause them to be tight. And we know that tight hamstrings can pull on the sits bones and cause some really awful stuff to happen. On the opposite end of that, if we have some natural tendency to bring the knees together, then having a block will be comforting. This could also be a pillow or a rolled up towel. So many things could happen here. We're going to bring our hands somewhere along the shin. We're going to roll the shoulders back, lift the heart, and think about creating space in the belly. And just breathe in and out here. Breathing in and breathing out. And thinking about lifting the top of the head, the crown, a little higher. And in this place, let's give our hips permission to separate. A lot of times we want to clench the glutes and do it again and keep clenching, and we carry stress through our hips. And so here we're going to give them permission to relax, to let go of tension, to let go of any sort of tightness that we've created from sitting or just from simply carrying our stress through the hips. In this place, we're still very tall. The shoulders are still back and reaching toward the floor. We're going to take the top of the head forward and back. Our breath will open here. Our exhale will close the throat. Breathing up. Exhaling back, squeezing the block or squeezing an imaginary block between the legs. Breathing up here. Exhaling down. Bringing our head into neutral, we're going to relax the arms and the hands. Let everything fall forward. Round the spine. Drop off the sits bones and find ourselves in a seated cat pose. The head and the tailbone reaching forward. The entire spine curved into a C. Feeling that stretch through the shoulders. And then we're going to take a breath and come all the way back in and find cow pose here. And then we're going to come back to that place. We're holding onto the leg, or maybe we would like to bring the bend of the elbow into the outer part of the bend of the knee. And use dynamic tension here. So the hands are pressing into each other and the elbows are pressing into the leg. We're going to bring our body all the way tall as we can. Breathe into this space. And then on the exhale, see if we can relax through the bottom of the body, letting all of the work happen from the ribs to the shoulders, down through the arms and the hands. And from here, we're going to think of allowing our hips to be more wide, our hips physically moving away from one another. So through the exhale, as we push our knees toward our arms, the knees are not going anywhere. The block is still right where it started because our arms are not allowing the knees to move. But the energy of the knee is going to reach out into the arms. And from here, we'll notice the sits bones are allowed to reach out as well, creating space and freedom of movement in the lowest part of the groin, thinking of the tailbone being free to move, imagining the sacrum as being soft. On our next exhale, we'll melt into the front of the body. Just let everything fall forward. Release the block if we're using a block. And come into head forward, hands just gently folded in front of the legs. We'll be here just for a moment. And let's check back in with our intention. Our intention to create space, to allow for some organization within the mind, within our thoughts, giving ourselves some time to be free. We're going to breathe and grow tall again. And from here, we're going to use our roller that we talked about before. So I'm going to grab mine. And this exercise is not comfortable necessarily. So if we, on the first time or two that we practice it, if you want to add a pillow to the work or just simply do it for a brief time. So the roller is here long ways. I'm going to demonstrate with a pillow first. We're going to straddle the roller. So we have one sits bone on either side of the roller. The pelvic floor is going to be flat onto the roller. So that might mean bringing our hands to the shin and coming back into that tall, supported, seated place. So we have the hands on the shin for support. And if having the pillow is pretty comfortable, then we have the choice to stay there, or we might try to see what happens without. And seated here, we're going to take our feet a little more wide, and we can either continue to hold on to the front of the leg or the back of the leg, whatever is most comfortable. And then from here, we can think of ourselves as moving about a 1/2 inch side to side, not very far at all. And again, we wouldn't stay here for long, but it's a very good way for us to find some relief in the very bottom of the body, especially in that space where the sits bones meet. Right above that is the place where we would experience the origin of most of sciatic pain. From here, we're going to bring our hands back. We're going to lift our hips and bring our sits bones forward. So where before we had our pelvis here, we're now going to let the bottom of the pelvis dip. And this would be our low back and sacrum. So we have one set of glutes on each side of the roller, and our hands are just comfortable. We still want to stay very lifted through the shoulder, and our fingertips are facing us as if we were doing inclined plank. We want to soften the belly and allow it to be heavy. So the more heavy the belly can be here, the more we can be into the roller, the more massage we might get from this. And we can let our body just move gently side to side. This would also work just on the floor, letting the legs windshield wiper from one side to the other. And that way the glute set can get some deep tissue massage on either side. Now, as we move into this and you feel that the body would benefit from moving even more into the glutes, that's definitely an option. Whatever the body is suggesting is probably a good idea because your body usually knows what it needs. It just needs for us to listen and then act on it, right? We're going to come all the way up and just move that roller out of the way. Let's leave it nearby. We might use it under our knees during our final relaxation time. So if you have a strap that you would like to use, we're actually going to go to our back. We're going to start with a bicycle. So just getting comfortable. Maybe we have a block behind our head, maybe a pillow, maybe both, whatever's working for you today. We're going to bring our hands under our hips and just circle our feet. And we're just going to notice our feet and our ankles. How does it feel? Let's open the toes and close them up. Flex the feet. See if we can create space between all of our toes. Open and close. And then we'll point and flex one and then the other. And now we're just going to take some big pedals, moving our legs round in circles. And let's reverse. Reverse that bicycle. So these circles are really big, and we're trying to take up as much space as we can below the hips and above the hips. Let's reverse again, and let's think of that. All the space that we can above the hip and below the hip, over the head and over the end of the mat. And now we're going to bring our hands under our hips, maybe even more, or maybe use a pillow there. And we're going to think about leaving the bicycle only above the face and the belly. So not allowing the foot to drop below the hip bone, only using the feet overhead and reversing. Just letting the legs move a bit. Let's bring one foot to the floor. We'll use our strap with the other foot. We're going to press into the strap. And this strap could be a towel. It could be a shirt. Anything that would give resistance here. And possibly a little bit of stretch, a little bit of flexibility. Now the leg that's on the floor can stay bent with the knee up, or it can extend all the way out. We want to try to keep both hips down. We'll take a big breath, and on our exhale, really try to press into the strap, noticing the warmth that's building in the leg, maybe even already feeling some stretch happening. We're going to take another breath in here, and on the exhale, really press away. And now we're going to fold that in and come into the other leg. Taking a big breath, starting into that stretch and deciding what's going to happen with the leg that's on the floor. Keep the knee up or extend it down. Breathe and push. Let everything give all effort. And in this place, really notice what's happening here. Breathing all the way in and all the way out. Feeling what we feel. Not just noticing that there's work happening or that maybe we're getting warm in our leg, but really noticing what we feel and giving attention to that, giving notice to it. Let the breath come all the way in and all the way out. We'll fold that down. And now we're going to move back to the other side. Now in this place, we're going to let that leg that's on the floor move out to butterfly. And we're going to take our strap into both hands. We're going to take actually our strap into one hand, both sides of the strap into one hand. The free hand is going to come to the inner thigh of the leg that's in butterfly. We're going to use that hand to secure the leg down to the floor. Our music keeps wanting to talk to us, and we don't want that. So with one hand holding that leg down to the floor, the strap is going to allow for the knee to move toward the underarm. So slowly with a bent knee, using the strap, or even getting rid of the strap and letting your hand come straight to the foot. We're allowing the knee to come into a deep bend, finding space for that knee right around the underarm, right into the side of the body. And as we take a big breath in here, on our exhale, we're just going to let that leg fold away from the body maybe an inch, just a little inch, and then notice how that feels. How does it feel in both legs? What's happening in the lower back? Do the shoulders feel anything? Now we'll take another breath, and on the exhale, extend a little bit more. Breathing all the way in and all the way out. We'll fold that in and be ready to change. Just using our hands to help our legs into place. And maybe we start with the strap again. Both sides of the strap into one hand. And the other hand is holding the butterfly leg toward the floor. We start the breath, and the exhale starts to bring the knee into a good bend, to a nice strong place here. And then we prepare to bring that foot flexing away from the body. Big breath in, and the exhale allows the heel to move just a bit away. And we breathe in again, and we exhale away. Finding our deepest stretch in this place right now. And we'll fold that down. Let's bring both knees all the way in. Finding Apanasana. Letting the body move side to side. Let's give a little squeeze to the front of the shin. Circling the feet. Massaging the front of the leg. Our ankles are probably singing a song to us right now. And then now we're just going to give ourselves whatever else our body needed. If we felt the need to do one more stretch of some kind, we're going to bring our body all the way out and then take a little care of our shoulders, clasping our fingers together and rotating the palms to the sky. We're going to find our hands directly over the forehead, drawing the shoulders down toward the mat, really pressing into the mat with each shoulder blade. We'll take a breath here. And on that exhale, let's bring our pinkies overhead toward the floor, maintaining that touching of the shoulders to the mat, opening out as far as we choose to go, releasing that, opening back around. Crossing one arm over and the other arm under. We'll reach to the side with the free hand. And let our arm come around and overhead. We'll reverse that, reaching across the body. Letting the free hand reach out and away. And then we'll come overhead again. We're going to bring ourselves into a place of complete relaxation. I'm going to come into seated and guide us through a meditation. So whatever else the body needed, let's take care of that. And we'll bring ourselves all the way into a comfortable place. If we would like to put that roller under our knees, bring something to the back of the neck. We're going to notice our breath. And with every breath in, our exhale will completely leave the body, not allowing any breath to stay in. And then we'll breathe all the way in once more. And all the way out, giving the body a yawn if it desires. And we are letting go of everything. Letting go of the doing, of the being someone or somewhere, and rather just experiencing the here and the now. We're going to breathe in acceptance of ourself and our truth. Breathing in what we are at this moment, whatever that might be. Maybe it's peaceful, maybe it's tired, maybe it's lonely, maybe it's satisfied. Whatever it is that we feel, just allow ourselves to feel that. Let's accept it as our truth in the here and the now. In these next few breaths, let's breathe in gratitude. Gratitude for all the things, the actual things, the things that are thoughts, the things that are feelings, the things that are family, all the things that are friends, coworkers, community. Giving out gratefulness. And let's breathe in grace and mercy, granting ourselves both of those things and receiving those things. Also giving out grace to all the things and people and places that annoy us, all the annoyances. Let's give grace and build tolerance. Being forgiven and forgiving. Let's notice the things that need to change. Let's be accepting of change, knowing that change is necessary, change is good. And let's look for the joy and the happiness in those changes. Moving forward, let's commit to our best work, working with honesty, integrity, and excellence. And in just these last few moments, we're going to think on our breath. So just closing the eyes, relaxing the jaw. We're going to think of the crown, the very top of the head. And let's breathe in and out of that space, allowing our breath to come in, filling the crown, and then just imagining the breath seeping out and escaping through the crown of the head. And then as we breathe in through the forehead, right between the brow, on the exhale, let's let the exhale just move through that space and relax, massage, and soothe the third eye space of the forehead. Relaxing the eyes, breathing in. On the exhale, allowing the breath to come out the mouth and through the throat. Maybe we spend another breath there, breathing in the nose and then out the throat and the mouth. Let's breathe in, relaxing the jaw, the neck, and the shoulders. On the exhale, let's let the breath just leave us through the heart. We're going to take a breath in. And on the exhale, let the breath move down both arms and out the fingers, maybe giving the fingers a wiggle or touching the tips of the fingers with the thumb. We'll breathe in again. Let's let the exhale move out through the belly, just letting the belly fill with air and escape. We're going to breathe all the way in and let that breath move all the way down through the heart and the belly, down into the lowest place in the body, just below the belly button. And on the exhale, feel that space completely release and relax as the breath escapes. Breathing in. Our exhale is going to move down the legs, past the top of the leg, through the knee and the bottom, all the way through the foot, wiggling the toes as we exhale. Letting the body be still. Noticing the breath. We'll bring ourselves into the tension and space of our mat. Noticing the breath. Letting the eyes move behind the eyelid. And letting the nose turn one side to the other. We'll draw our knees into our chest and start to give our body one last hug. And let's notice how we feel. Maybe we're feeling calm. Maybe we're feeling peaceful, rested, ready for sleep. Let's try to savor this moment. Remember it. Know that we brought ourselves to this place and we can bring ourselves here again. Taking in a last breath, and through the exhale, moving over to the side. We find ourselves seated, comfortable and cozy, being grateful for our practice. We'll bring our hands to the center. And peace to you for the rest of this evening, the rest of the week. Namaste.